Welcome to the Man with a Hat podcast. These conversations are my best attempt to save the world. They wouldn't exist without a lot of back and forth with artificial intelligence. On the surface, these talks may sound extremely ordinary, but I believe the ideas inside them are simple, unique, and maybe, just maybe, world-fixing. But then, I'm not that bright. You be the judge. Let's get started. You know, when I first started thinking about a universal energy tax, I was focused on the big picture. The carbon, the economy, the fairness of it all. But lately I've been wondering what it would do to the way we talk to each other. Not just about the news, but through the constant jittery pulse of social media, where attention has become a form of currency. We live in a world where most speech is free, but almost none of it is honest. Clickbait headlines are written not to inform, but to provoke. You click, and you feel tricked. And that little burst of frustration, that fuels another ad impression. Somebody gets paid for doing that to you. It's not about truth, it's about engagement. And hate and anger are just so engaging. Now imagine dropping a real universal energy tax into that system. Suddenly the cost of running those massive data centers, the ones chewing up electricity to push endless streams of outrage and distraction, become visible. Every click, every view, every scroll would be pulling from the same finite energy account that powers your house and your local clinic. What happens when the power bill is shared by everyone, when the external costs are no longer invisible? Maybe that endless cycle of click to feel something starts to lose its grip. Maybe energy gets treated as something sacred again, something you don't waste on outrage, because it is a waste, a drain, and a huge tax on your personal, physical, and mental health. But there's another side to this, speech itself. We say speech is free, but in this system, maybe honest speech is what becomes valuable. I've been playing with this idea of a kind of microcurrency worth about 0.2 of a cent. I call it the minimum fee for the sworn obligations of an honest expression. Something very much like what a notary public at a bank gives you. And the minimum value of that expression is this expression. Are you ready? Here it is. That's my 2 cents. 2 cents. That is the minimum value of an honest expression. We have known that all along, buried in this common expression. It is supported by another old saying. Are you ready for that? Here it is. A penny for your thoughts. Both expressions connote a hat-in-hand kind of humility. A penny for your thoughts is offering a price expecting something of honest value in return. It trusts that what you say will be of more value than what they offered for your unexpressed thought. If, upon reflection, you answer honestly and without malice, they get back something of more value than what they offered for it. They are wealthier for that exchange. It is not a paywall, not censorship. It's just a token of good faith, a proof that someone put their real name or their real intent behind what they said. I haven't figured out how to monitor that yet, but I am getting closer. The only thing that feels both real and practical enough to work is a notary public. Someone who can certify, yes, this is a real person, they meant what they said, and they said it of their own free will, and that it is free of malice. A legal witness to sincerity. Imagine being able to notarize a statement for 0.2 of a cent, and it carried with it legal weight and obligations. That might sound small, but small is kind of the point. If you put even a fraction of a real value behind speech, you discourage the flood of fake accounts, the outrage bots, the algorithmic bait. You get back to a slower, more deliberate kind of communication, where words weigh something again. So how does that tie back to the universal energy tax? Well, the same principle applies. Both systems say nothing is free if it costs the planet. You want to speak? Great. You want to burn energy to reach millions? Fine. But let's be honest about the cost. Let's make the economics of attention transparent, the same way we're trying to make the economics of energy transparent. The danger, of course, is that people have grown used to free, quote unquote. Free clicks, free streaming, free scrolling. But it's not really free. We're paying with our time, our trust, and our public focus. The more we chase cheap engagement, the more expensive truth becomes. So if a universal energy tax ever takes root, I think it could mark the end of that kind of false freedom, and maybe a start of a truer one, a world where speech and energy both have measurable value, and both can be used responsibly. I don't have the legal framework worked out yet. That's something I'd love to see lawyers, economics, and maybe even philosophers wrestle with. How do you make honesty legally binding, but still open? How do you keep it affordable, maybe even beautiful, like the old idea of a public circle where anyone can speak, but where every word costs just enough to make you think before you speak? That's what I mean when I say the universal energy tax could change more than our bills. It could change our habits, and maybe, and just maybe, even our character. The whole game of media and politics changes when truth has value and lies have a cost. And that is my 2 cents for what it's worth. A penny for your thoughts? This has been another Man with a Hat podcast. Thank you so much for listening.